Can see Marina. I can see Adam.
All right. Hi, everybody. It's almost time. Xuanzang's tower is going to happen no matter what.
No matter what.
We just make the efforts, through rain, sleet, snow. What is it? All the
Ocean,
hardships, difficult words,
Sickness and health.
difficult concept.
difficult philosophical, challenging concepts.
Obey the laws of the pack.
Gravity.
Excitement.
So we have another exciting Xuanzang's Tower episode coming up for you starting in 1 minute. We're going to start with my text, and I'll lead a class with the team. Geshe Michael's not able to make it today. I think he's at an important medical appointment. And after my class, we're going to have a surprise Q&A with Mr. Word. And then after that will be class with Word. So stick around. If you have hard questions, if you have mind-only questions, Word's your guy. Let's see. I want to extend a special thanks to all of our translators. I mean the mixed nuts, but also right now I specifically mean our interpreters who work so hard to translate us into different languages. You guys are amazing and we appreciate you. We have Chinese, Russian, Spanish, German, Ukrainian. I think that might be it. Vietnamese. It's amazing. You guys are awesome. Interlocutors. Yes. Them. Lotsawas. We're lucky to have you guys. Let us know what we can do for you. Like speaking slowly or clearly and using words that you can understand. And also I want to thank the Worldview Productions team. You guys are amazing. Keep our videos fresh and ready for us. And all of our regional coordinators for the Good Night Book Club. I almost called it the Mixed Nuts Reading Club. That's a thing. That's over. That was a long time ago. The Good Night Book Club. And thank you guys for helping arrange this. Thank you, Lindsay, especially for arranging everything for us to ensure the future of this translation program that is bringing books to your language soon and currently, especially English, but we're working on all the other languages too. Okay, time for me to share my quiz. Just finished it. So yeah. Here we go. Oh, that's not it. There it is. So hopefully this quiz, it might be difficult. It might not be, but hopefully it's going to help remind us where we are in the text. So we've been in a debate that was started by Master Nagarjuna, and he was talking about how different non-Buddhist schools, like these ancient Indian schools, Hindu mostly, they have certain ideas, and he's trying to dismiss them, as Buddhist teachers are wont to do. So let's see what he says. We were talking most recently about the Vaisheshikas, which I believe we landed on the translation detailers. Is that right, Ben?
Yeah.
All right. Ben, his book mentions all of the different Hindu schools, so he's got final names for them in English. But I suppose could always change. So where we were at last class, and I'm still a little fuzzy on some of this, but you guys did an amazing job of helping me shed some light on it. The detailers seem to, on one hand, agree that there's a problem with the idea that things start or stop, but they don't have a problem with the idea that there are permanent, unchanging atoms. And I think taken as a given here is that if something doesn't start or stop, that means that through its own nature. And so therefore, if things exist, they have to depend on other things, which on some level would mean that they change. But let's see.
I thought it was the other way around, Nick.
Oh, they think things do start or stop?
That the idea that there are conditions that cause things to start or stop is wrong. And they have no problem with the idea that there are partless atoms with an unchanging nature.
Right. They don't have a problem with the idea that there are partless atoms with an unchanging nature. But they don't have a problem.
Maybe it's
They
I have
do
a
have a-
problem with
they
reading
agree.
English today. Sorry, I'll shut up.
I think what you said agrees with what I said here, but we'll look at the text if you still feel that it doesn't, because there was a kind of a confusing line there. So anyway, they do address a contradiction. Anyone want to try to remember or take a shot at how they address the contradiction that arises if we agree that temporary things just don't exist and we accept that atoms are unchanging?
Is this about the Chiba?
Yeah.
Yeah, how then a baby could grow or age, get old, all of that.
Yeah, good. So if temporary things just don't exist and everything's unchanging, then there's a contradiction in the sense that we see things like babies grow into a youth or youths grow old or anything else. So that is how that contradiction is addressed. And then there's another. So what happened was in the end of the penultimate class, the one before the last, he said, does momentariness exist or not? Or do temporary things exist or not? But he said, if temporary things don't exist, then we would say, how does a baby grow into a youth? Or how do these things happen? And then if temporary things do exist, and yet atoms are unchanging, then what contradiction arises? Adam looks like he knows. Fair enough. Well, just what logically is the problem if
Then
changing
Adam,
things exist and yet things are unchanging?
then atoms. I mean, well, atoms couldn't be unchanging. At
Right.
least.
Yeah, basically.
Or they couldn't be the building blocks of temporary things.
Yeah, it's more like that.
Yeah.
We'd be saying that temporary things must become permanent. This is how they phrased it, which would constitute a change.
I like that.
Yeah. And what is another problem? This is the end of my last class, which I doubt anybody would remember. I don't think I remembered. Oh, sorry. I had some yelling in the background. What is another problem that we address if existing things are part changing and part unchanging?
That's impossible.
Well, yeah, but I guess they give some specific reasons why that would be stupid, I guess. Gyaltsab J starts addressing it. Here, I'll just
Things are
answer.
part changing and part unchanging, then they're unchanging. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. He says, how would the unchanging, first he questions how the unchanging things would go out of existence. And then the point he makes is if it's part temporary, how does a temporary part of something coexist with a permanent part? Like, how could that be? And he starts talking about like, does the temporary part go away and then the permanent part remains?
Mhm, mhm.
All right. In 8 minutes, we finished the quiz,
Extraordinary.
Well done.
but with no Tibetan vocabulary. There was nothing interesting for you guys. Like, I think you knew all the vocabulary. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing that. Share something else. That's not it. Wait. Ha. See, here's where we were looking. Oh, so Utpala, you raised a question. So let's, just because I think it's good for all of us, maybe we can look back and see what they had a problem with.
No, I was totally misreading. Never mind.
Okay, never mind. Well, here's where we were. We were talking about the detailers. We're questioning whether temporary things do exist or not. And in the case where they do exist, then we couldn't say that atoms are permanent. That because if something became permanent, temporary became permanent, it would change. And I don't think he spelled out the whole reasoning there. Here's the part where he talks about how a baby could not grow into a youth or become old if atoms were not temporary and changing. So here's where we were. That section was kind of confusing. I think we made the most of it. And here's a equally confusing section. And now we are working on disproving the beliefs of the Vaishnavites, which is my provisional translation, which I feel almost certain will be changed to something else.
I dare
Yeah,
say
like
he called
English.
them like he called them the Universalists.
Universalists?
I'm afraid so. Yeah, not to be confused with the Unitarians.
Did you say it's not English, Venerable?
Vaishnavite, maybe.
Vaishnavite, yeah, not
Stretching
English.
it.
No,
Only in
Vaishnavite
the
is English.
only in the academy.
It was in my textbook in high school, like I said last time. So
I see.
Yeah.
whether or not that's correct, I don't know, but it was
It's
in
like
there.
Shaivite.
Yeah, the
Vaishnavite.
Shaivites and the Vaishnavites, exactly.
Correct.
There's a major distinction in between northern and southern Indians are which.
Never heard of it. Yeah. Okay.
That's okay. It's still English.
Yeah,
It's it's not
There's many
later
English-
contestable.
yeah. One time I was on vacation and somebody asked me what ubiquitous meant, and I didn't know. And then she got really angry at me. She was really mad. She thought I was messing with her, and then I was really unfair of me to not share what the English word meant. I was young, and I just didn't happen to know that word. And then we finally met up with some other American dude. I was like, "Hey, what does ubiquitous mean?" And he was like, "I don't know." And I was like, "Ha!" Now I know what it means.
But you still won't tell foreigners?
Oh no, never. So if anybody on this call is not American, I'm sorry, I will not say. Okay, just kidding. Ubiquitous, for those of you who haven't heard the word, means there's lots of them around.
Pretty much
Like-
everywhere.
Yeah, you could say Starbucks is ubiquitous in the planet or something.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. Where I live, good coffee is ubiquitous. So nothing bad about Starbucks. Here's the second point from above. A denial of the followers of Vishnu's belief in an unchanging person.
Mhm.
And then there's a verse here that Geshe Michael seemed to find only half of in our version of the Tengyur.
Mm.
So as we've noticed before, there's a couple problems with this text in our version of the Tengyur. Luckily, one of the things that we've been hard at work on is, especially asking our input operators to be hard at work on, is inputting a separate Tengyur. So ALL, thanks to the hard work of Sanam and her team, now has 2 Tengyurs fully input. So feel free, anybody who needs a second opinion on something you find in the Tengyur. It isn't yet cataloged and split. They're just input in volumes. So it would still take some work to find anything specific, but we can search it.
It's searchable though, yeah.
Yeah. Kind of cool. So it was the Nartong Tengyur. So now we have the Nartong. And yeah, cool. It looks like we found the whole verse here from the Nartong Tengyur.
Mm.
I'll read it. Kechik yinna rilme chir. Ningpa gata kalashik. Tenchir kechik minna yang. Ningpa gata kalashik. This is my provisional translation. I only could even attempt this after looking at the verse here. The following stanzas, I mean. And we do have some help from Geshe Michael above.
Mhm.
And some Sanskrit, which has always been useful in this text. Let's look at the first section of the commentary here, though.
Yes,
Oh,
I'm sorry, Nick, could you go back up? Because you added some Tibetan that wasn't in. Great, I just want to make sure I got it all.
I didn't add any Tibetan. I would
Yeah, after Ningpa Gala Shik, that Tenchir Kechik, the version that I have, said, we're missing a line in Tibetan here.
Oh, that's up here. And then Geshe Michael pasted this.
Oh, you're at a different one. Okay, I'm just lost. I'm just going to shut up. Okay, bye.
Scroll down. You don't have to shut up, but just you have to scroll down, though. You do have to scroll down. So anyway, here we go. Oscar, would you do us the honors?
Yeah.
That's what you get for having your camera on. Yeah.
Kyamjuk panare. Kochagi kyamjung ni. Dokta mepe kiebutakpa. Nimpa yimpe rangshintang. Nekakla takpenye pate dagme doshena.
Nice. Thank you. This is what I got, and I'd love to go through it together. Kyamjuk panare, the Vaishnavites say.
Nick,
Yes, sir.
should we say claim?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I know it's a minor point, but I feel like it should be like yeah, something like yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And also depending on how much you've said that recently, right? As long as you didn't say claim a bunch of times, right? Geshe Michael says it can be cloying to use the exact same terms, even if they're the best terms sometimes.
Yeah,
Sure.
it's cool. It's an interesting point. A lot of stuff like that, I don't really deal with on my first pass. I like wait till I'm
Of course.
translating big sections as a whole. Like I'll go back over it, and then I mean I'm still developing my process, of course, but at this point I'm just like struggling to make sure I get the right meaning.
Good idea.
And within that, I really appreciate what you said, Word, and I appreciate everybody's input into like what's a great way to you want a final translation to look, because I need all the help I can get.
Same.
All right. So the Vaishnavites claim our Vishnu. This is Koa Chakgi, our.
Yeah.
So now
Us
we're
guys-
back in.
Us guys, this Vishnu.
Yes.
Yeah. We went through this before. where it was a koachak with a shena at the end. So it looks like they're kind of quoting them and saying our Vishnu is an ancient, unchanging being who neither begins nor ends. Kyamjukni Tot Ta Mepa, right? He's
Yeah.
he neither begins nor ends.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, silly
he-
question. Well, you just feel the flow works better in that order. You reversed the order of the list, and maybe that felt better on your tongue in English. I'm just curious what the process was for you.
Yeah, I first phrased it the other way, and then it's just like that. And maybe there'll be a reason to change it back, but I think it was just that it flowed better in terms of
Mm.
adjectives.
Yeah, sometimes the genitive is clumsy the other way in English, like
Yeah,
clumsier or something.
like
It's yeah, go ahead.
our Vishnu is a beginningless, endless being who is unchanging and ancient. I thought to make like instead I made the second part a verb,
Yeah.
like neither begins nor ends, rather than just having four adjectives, which I thought
Yeah.
felt clumsy. That's why.
Yeah. Okay. Although technically neither beginning nor ending is the one that's attached to being. So
Yeah.
Kyebu.
Oh yeah, then that's
But
still like that. Well, being
unchanging being.
who
Yeah,
needs
who. I guess your who is
the
the
agiku'i.
genitive, right? That's the
Yeah.
akiku'i. Cool. Okay. Cool.
And
Thanks.
for all of our translators, if you don't know by now, when we say agiku'i, we mean this.
Yeah.
That's the connecting particle. So for maybe you just translate it as agiku'i, but man, there's probably 20 things like that we need to clarify because we say agiku'i all the time. You guys are like, what?
Totally.
Anyway, so he's ancient, unchanging being who neither begins nor ends. I'm open if there's a reason to put it the other way, but so far it looks good to me.
Geshe
Uh,
like that all the time. I think it's fine.
he totally does.
Yeah.
Yimpa. Rangshin dang nika la takbe nye patedak me. So it looks like we're saying we don't have these, like we don't have right here, dedak these, nyepa problems, agiku e of investigating takba la whether he has any nature of his own, rangshin, or is temporary, nekap.
Mm.
I would almost want to say we don't have any of these problems that would lead us to investigate. Or maybe it's something else altogether.
Interesting. Yeah. And I guess, right, importantly, sentence one is the reason for sentence two.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's just, and then you can see that by the sa.
Yeah, right. So I think it's sort of implied by your English. I don't know if you want it to be more explicit.
I mean,
I do think it has that feel. It's just not explicit.
I would do it this way if I wanted to make it more explicit.
Sure.
But I think sometimes I just think it's kinder to the reader to split sentences.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, or you can always say, you can end the sentence where you did and say something like, and this is why,
Yeah, it's true too.
or and of us, or for this reason.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
And
not,
so,
yeah. You could even do that. Only Geshe Michael would allow you to start a sentence that way, but we happen to work for just such a man.
but you can start sentences with and, it's fine.
Okay. Don't
Yeah.
tell Upala, but you're lucky she's in protest quietness right now.
Wait, this is a yes or no question, Upal. Isn't it illegal to start sentences with and?
Yes.
That did not sound like Upala at
She
all.
wrote yes in the chat.
Oh,
She
okay.
wrote yes in the chat.
I happen to
Yeah.
agree.
Okay,
It is
okay.
technically illegal, but colloquially, when you're
It's
hanging
not
out chatting with
illegal. It's
friends.
just not as formal.
Mrs. Butts would teach otherwise.
I
Yeah.
guess. Okay.
Geshe
Right.
Michael, 6th grade English. Words $3,000 answer.
My
No
third
one
grade.
will arrest you.
So Ben, you're saying you never start a sentence with a word that joins things together?
Are you saying that I'm saying that I never drive over the speed limit?
I
Okay,
believe
I'm going back into silence. Bye.
I think it's acceptable English. That's we'll look it up for next class.
That's fine. That's
I
fine.
believe it's acceptable English. Okay. So I forgot to close the quotations.
Mm.
It looks
No, that's unacceptable.
that's not cool. I guess you can leave quotations open if you're continuing.
You can.
But only when you put the opening one in the next line, the next
Right.
paragraph. Yeah.
Which confuses me, but I've noticed it in books.
Next
Okay.
paragraph.
Next one. Kyamjuk. Oh, sorry. Let's read somebody else.
Hmm.
Who's the next person? Duodo, it's you.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us, Duodo. It's always nice to see you here. It's been so long.
Thank you, sir. Capture ngopo yin catching my in ngula catching my in rang pe tu ni par me pe che
No.
ngat 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 tu na yu pe ngư po de ni chi tu su nè bề nè bề nhìn ba nè bề nhìn ba cá yang ta cá là xích yu de me ba te.
Thank you. All right. I don't know. Let's see what we got here. Kyamjuk ngopa yin na. So this is provisional, okay? Reishi.
Mm-hmm.
If Vishnu functions, he has to be momentary. That's this part, okay? I know functions is probably not an appropriate way to say ngopo, but it felt so weird to say if Vishnu is a functioning thing.
Mm. Could you
But I
just
don't-
use a changing entity or something?
I thought about that.
Mm.
You could
'cause
say
you're changing here a little bit because I noticed that the ngopo up top was you were specifically using temporary.
No, temporary was for
Nakeup something?
yeah, NACOP.
yeah.
Was it?
NACOP was NACOP was temporary. And I know that NACOP can also mean other stuff, but in this whole section it has meant temporary over and over.
You could say, something as colloquial as does things or does stuff or does or performs activities or
I thought about saying performs a function, and then Adam popped in my head and was like, no, that's Dunjay Nepa.
yeah, right. Well, maybe that's exactly why it's right.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely change it to that over this because it was also my
Sure.
first thing.
Functions is not illegal. It's just because you don't like it that I'm. Yeah.
But that sounds even better. It sounds weird to say Vishnu functions. It's not like a Vishnu robot,
Vishnu bot.
If Vishnu performs,
yeah.
he's got to be momentary. He's got to be temporary. So I'm right now provisionally. I've been using momentary for K-cheek and temporary for NACOP, just to be somewhat consistent.
What about active? I don't know, something like that. I don't know if Vishnu is active, then he must be
Vishnu.
That sounds like he exercises a lot.
Yeah, he does. He goes out to the gym and makes all beings come and go.
He covers the world. That's active.
He always looks really good in the statues. So I mean,
He
I
does. It's
he's-
true.
That's why he's always laying down. He's so active.
What does he eat?
All right. Kechik ma yina rang jupe deni par real mepe cheer. Okay. I don't know. Let's see.
Hmm.
Because if something is momentary, it doesn't last forever. I probably just could end that sentence there. This is a mixed nut attempting to translate in motion.
Mm.
It must exist between 2 points in time. Where did I? Oh yeah, right here.
Mm.
Dunyi par.
Yeah.
Rang jupe dunyi. So it looks like I didn't catch the rang drup. I just said exist.
Mm.
Rang drup could be something like
Yeah, it-
inherently or spontaneously or something.
yeah, I think Flundrup is spontaneous, but
That's right.
Uh,
That's right.
yeah.
Feels similar though, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, what it itself has to exist between two moments of time.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
What's real Nepal then?
Real May, I'm saying doesn't last forever. Because real, I think real means all.
But I
Well,
thought,
I wanted to go ahead, Word.
okay, thank you. Yeah, Rilbo me means like is not a whole thing. Like you think of it as a whole thing, but it's not a whole thing.
Uh-huh.
I think the
Sounds-
import of the sentence is that it must exist differently at 2 points in time.
Hmm.
But there's
So-
a may here.
Yeah, right. So it's real me. The ra connects it. It's real me in the context of 2 different points in time, being established at 2 different points in time. So the real me you translated as,
I said it doesn't last forever.
yeah, it
You're
doesn't.
thinking something more like it doesn't stay the same forever.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't last, for 2 moments in time. If it changes, if there's activity.
Ah,
I
That's
think
a-
it means it's not the
that's
same
a-
thing. It's not the same
Yeah.
thing. 2 moments in
Right.
time.
yeah, that's interesting.
right.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
there is no must exist actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause Ri-
because if something is
Oh.
ke chikma, right? If something is momentary, then that means specifically that it is a thing which is established as not lasting
Yeah.
for 2 moments in time.
Something like that. Yeah, totally. That's it. You guys are right. That's got to be it.
Yeah, between 2, yeah. Or you could say, yeah, between 2 moments in time. I mean, I almost
yeah.
want you to say more like it doesn't last from one point of time to another or something, or it doesn't, you can even just say doesn't last for 2 moments in time. I don't know.
But
The between
don't-
bothers me a little.
I don't think it's I don't think it's the last thing. I think it's the sameness. That's what Rilbo me
That's
literally
fine.
means. It's
Yeah.
not the same. So last.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's that. Let's see. I want to check something real quick.
Okay.
Geshe Michael did a provisional translation of the root text, and there's
Cool.
there's a real in the root text
There's a real,
Great.
real,
for
Right.
real.
Let's take it.
for real, for real.
Maybe even the
Here it is.
Sanskrit.
Real May cheer. Keichi Gin na real May cheer.
Mm.
And he said, how could something be old if it were not present in every instant?
Right.
He translated all of the Sanskrit. So he did, but this is the first line.
That's
Yeah.
the second line.
The first 2
old.
lines of the Tibetan, I mean. First line.
Oh, thank you. You're right. Thank you.
Sorry, we're not even looking at the Sanskrit. But,
Mhm.
How could something be old if
Yes.
it's not present in every instant? So he's saying not present in every instant.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then Gyaltsab J is glossing it to say 2 points in time.
Hmm. Okay. So some kind of pervasive, like,
Yeah, and that's gonna come.
okay.
I think.
Yeah, cool.
So so it doesn't.
You
What
could
did
just
Geshe
say
Michael say?
before.
We're not present. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It-
okay. I think that's
It
makes
isn't present for 2 moments in time.
isn't present for two.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it doesn't necessarily say it doesn't last.
Yeah. It's something
Uh,
like that. I mean, we're very close.
Yeah,
The
okay.
last is not bad because it's starye,
What?
which from which we get the word steady, stand, stay, still, stable.
Right.
Obstinate.
Hey, what are you trying to say?
I
We're
try.
gonna we're gonna gloss something similar below, so maybe it'll all come together even better.
Okay.
Nga duna yepe ngopo denyi chidusu ngepe ningpag. This kind of all goes together.
Hmm.
So here we got a galashik, which you guys probably remember that now, right?
How could it be? Isn't it like
Yeah. How in the world or how the heck?
Oh
Yes,
gosh.
those are all nicer ways of putting it than I came up with.
Yeah. You're just speaking in science fiction novels because that's what you wrote your book as.
Mhm.
Okay. How in the world could something be a changing thing? Here we go. Wait a minute. Okay, here I called Nopo a changing thing.
Yeah.
So I've been messing around with it a little bit, and I'm not totally comfortable with one meaning of Nopo for this section yet. Be a changing thing. Okay, so it says nga du na yupe ngopo. Exist
Mhm.
as a changing thing at the beginning, maybe?
Hmm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yipping ngopo, I'm saying be a
Hopefully, yeah.
yeah. Be a
Hopefully, we're about to paint it out that if he's been around since forever, Mopo doing stuff, being active, as it were,
uh-huh.
then there's a problem
Uh-huh. Yeah.
because she do at a later time.
Yeah. At the beginning, and then stay nepe su chidu. So it's chidu su
Oh,
nepe. So it's maybe this is saying it's staying at a later time or still be around at some later time with the appearance of having aged. That's how I'm taking this
right.
ta.
Well,
You know, if I remember correctly, that ta from the kala, it's usually ta kala,
Okay.
right? Like they usually go together as a phrase, I think.
Oh,
Meaning
well,
what?
I like that.
Like what? Yeah, WTF.
Yeah. Okay. So it's
that's better
yeah, I like that. Good.
CGL.
because, as we know, Kyamjuk is very active and he doesn't appear old, even if he is.
The results of a good, healthy workout. Follow me on my Instagram for more tips for men's health after 45.
Invading the universe.
Men's health after 45 kalpas.
So okay, yeah, changing thing in the beginning and then stay at some later time. I'm going to take this out because I had a feeling that there was something about that ta that I wasn't getting.
Yeah, it's usually just how could there ever be?
Yeah. then stay as, but it does say there is this mention of old, like he's getting older.
Mhm.
And then there's a ga here, which I'm having a hard time. I don't think that goes with the galashik. This is like something specific to the verse.
Usually means some, right?
Yeah, some. And so I just had some later time
Nice.
because I was just trying to work it in there, but I wasn't quite sure.
It would go with the gayang as like a few or something.
Yeah, a few.
Guy. Oh, okay. So looks
The
like
yang-
looks like he's aged a few.
But look at the Sanskrit.
Yeah,
There's-
that's a good idea. And we didn't get it here, but it may be this kachit.
Lala,
Yeah.
some.
Kachi, which is, it's strange. Usually, oh yeah, Kachi.
Kachit.
Yeah, this is like how in the heck.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and see how Geshe translated it there in this line. How could something be old? How in the world could something ever be old if it didn't even last an instant?
Yeah. And so maybe this ga, here's the ga in the English.
I think it's the some thing.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with
And it comes again when here,
yeah.
at least in the Ser tree.
Wait, hold on.
No, this says ga, but that really wouldn't. He looks happy and old. It's kind of.
You could see how well, never mind. Yeah, it's just a miscarving, right?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it could be relating to Bumgamo.
Oh,
Dude,
oh.
the obscure humor.
Are you talking about the Vinaya thing? Oh my God. The reason for all the vowels.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So let's just, I don't have to say some later time. I think it's this something here.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. Let's stay at a. I'll clean it up later. But it's something like this, right? The meaning seems right.
Nick, that at the beginning of that second sentence in
This one.
Laduna,
Yeah.
if there was an earlier time.
Maybe. I took it as
beginning.
Yeah, I took it as as like a Ladun particle here.
You took the Ladun particle?
Well, na it can commonly be a Ladun particle as well as being if.
Okay.
And in this case, I took it that way because it just I don't see how it's saying if there's an earlier time, because it doesn't say, there's nothing else that refers to it being an if statement.
It would say if existing at an earlier time is a functional thing, then at a later time as it exists, something would have to age. How could it be that it did not? That's possible, I think.
Yeah. How in the world? I think the galashik is why I changed it away from being an if in the first place, because I couldn't make a good statement with how in the world. It would have split it up into multiple sentences.
I don't know. You could say if blah 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 blah, then how in the world blah blah blah, aging yada yada.
Exactly.
Yeah. My other reason is you could, but you have a ngadun yipengopo. It doesn't say ngadu lai yipengopo na. Like it seems to me, and maybe I'm wrong, that the if would then be over here.
Nah.
If it were a changing thing at an earlier time, not changing thing if earlier time, like that syntax.
It's definitely possible.
Now, I'm not 100% sure if it's like
if earlier time changing thing. Yeah.
like in every case that you see na, there's usually a continuative particle like somewhere following.
Right. Is there one here? Let's see.
I didn't pick up on one, but well,
He's been using gelte a lot, and but like he would say gelte, and then put the na later.
Yeah, that's common.
usually like the if then, kind of context, there is usually a continuative particle separating the two.
Okay, so let me see if I don't know if we need to do it, but if at an earlier time it was changing thing.
I'm kind of arguing for the way that you have it.
No, I know you do. I know you are. I'm just trying to be thorough here. Chidusu. See, now there's a Ladin particle instead of a na. So my tendency is to keep it how it is, but let's see. So it's like it exists as a changing there and then it stays there. That seems to be the pattern. Let's see. See what happens down below. Oh. Teme Partel, there is no such thing. Does that sound right?
I agree.
Okay.
He does it again in the next sentence, so whatever.
Oh, it's je Teme Partel. There is no such thing.
Me partel.
Nothing exists like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does it again here.
Yeah, he does.
So here's our if. Kelte.
Mm.
Tempe ngopo yimpe cheer keichi. Oh, somebody else can read. Who's not me. Let's see. Venerable Gelse. Innocently just standing there.
Nopo yimpe cheer kechik ma ninang ne dunan ne pe nopo chikyang ne pe ningpa ga yang tak latak
Oh, it's Tagala.
tagal ga. So it's God.
Sorry, this is a mistake. The tak. So when Geshe Michael puts it like that,
So it's ga yang taga.
Ga Yang Tagala Shik. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Ga yang. I just didn't know if it was just.
Totally.
Thank you. Ga yang tagala shik nupo ningpala gyurwe kyabe chiro.
Okay. Let's see what it means. Galte. This one's definitely an if. Tempe ngopo yimpe. Kichik ma min na. So this to me is 100% no question. We got an if statement.
Yeah.
If a stable functioning thing cannot be momentary or is not momentary, then we got a Gala Yang here somewhere. Gala Chic. Then how in the world, forget this observe things.
Is that your ta?
Yeah. But I knew that it was ridiculous. Okay, how in the world could things
Start?
Yeah, where were we?
Do.
Oh yeah. How in the world could things start at one time? So now I think I'm mixing things up. Stay and then get old at a later time. So we got to rework this.
You missed the also. I don't think it's too bad. I think you missed the also though.
Where's an also? Oh, this young. Oh, the
Kyang.
non. Yeah.
Well, there's a couple. There's the ang, there's the kyang, and there's the yang.
Look at that. I skipped over all of them.
They
Just
probably all
avoid-
negate each other anyway.
I, yeah, I was avoiding that. Yeah, like if also even.
But
How in the world could things also start at one time or even, but actually it looks like it's saying stay at the beginning, right?
Mhm.
That's weird.
it could be exist as changing from the beginning too. Exist as functioning from the beginning and later also
Nipping up, maybe.
also exist.
And then get old later.
Yeah, but those aren't contradictory. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Well, the thing is that he's saying, okay, no, we're talking about stable functioning things. Those cannot be momentary, right? He says it's a bang opo.
What does stable mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see the Sanskrit.
Firm. What is firm? Stira or something?
Probably, yeah. That's what I'm guessing. Here it is. Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Stairia.
Stairia.
Here it is.
Yeah.
And Geshe Michael didn't even treat it, unfortunately, but he was just doing a really, as he said here, rough. He just didn't want to forget, probably.
Yeah.
Could something be old if it did not last an instant? What did I do?
How could a stable thing be old if it didn't last an instant?
I took it like if momentary things are not stable, because it says tenchir keichi minna.
Yeah.
So this to me, since it's a min, means this is not this.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the cheer is doing there. If because it's stable, it can't be momentary or something like that.
Yeah.
I'll say that for now. How could we observe it age? I don't know. That's it's staira. It's something firm, stable. Word, you're the tempa. You're the tempa guy. You got the
I'm the opposite of tempo.
no, I mean you. I mean your book has like every.
Oh, my book, yeah.
Yeah.
Miten.
Yeah. Every possible meaning of 10 has come up.
Oh yeah, that's true. My video.
Oh, here we go. Okay. So let's just say if a stable functioning thing because a functioning thing is stable, maybe that's what the chair is doing here. If because a functioning thing is stable, it cannot be keichikma.
Yeah, so stable has to mean something like unchanging or something.
Yeah.
Ben, what do you think?
I'm wondering if stable also refers to just being old.
Old.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's what I was thinking at the moment you asked me what I was thinking. Because then can be like an elder.
Yeah, they use it in Naten, like the 16 Natens.
Right. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting.
Yeah, 16 elders, the 16 arhats.
Because this guy's been around since ancient times. So if he's an ancient doer, if he's an ancient agent.
Yeah, if he's juking the kyab, then he's got to be tenpa.
Yeah, he's old.
Maybe Okay, I'm gonna stick with stable for now. I'm not accusing anybody of juking the cap.
That's okay.
If because a functioning thing is stable, it cannot be momentary, then Gala Chic, how in the world could things? So I'm going to change this. It doesn't say anything about starting. Stay maybe from the beginning. Where were we? Oh yeah, nga do na nepe nepe nopo. So it's like a changing thing, staying. It's not a from. I don't know if it's an if, but I don't think so. I'm open. Hold on a minute. Go ahead, Jimmy.
I don't know either. If it is an if, it says this line says if also, if also.
Probably
Yeah,
at an earlier time.
Yeah.
Probably.
I
think
like, yeah.
I think if stay at an earlier time, yeah. That's even better. That seems more contradictory.
Yeah, it has to be contradictory in some way, right?
Yeah. And then get old at a later time. Where were we? While. I bet you that kyung is while. This here. A while. Naping, but while staying old. How in the world could things stay at an earlier time and then while?
I think it'd be while being old.
I think you're right.
For the NEPA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just doesn't sound right to say staying old.
Yeah, it's a little heavy-handed.
I mean, maybe in Tibetan it sounds okay, but
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, but it sounds funny.
yeah.
I mean, that's what it means, right?
Yeah.
While existing,
Well,
becoming.
existing as old.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's getting depressing. Okay. Seeing how gray I become. Good things stay at an earlier time while being old at a later time. For it's certainly the case. Here we go. What's this? Oh yeah, here we go. Ngopo
This is-
pala gyorwe kyape chir. I said I took the kyape chir to be for it's certainly the case.
That functioning things become old.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
No argument there.
So does that contradict, let's see if this makes sense then. How in the world could things stay at an earlier time while being old at a later time? But doesn't that seem,
That's coherent. Yeah.
but it is or it isn't?
Should be contradictory, right?
We're looking for I don't see much of a problem, yeah.
Well, you translated nay as stay one time and then being at another time, but it's probably consistent. So it's how could things be changing at an earlier time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then wait.
Or be
Yeah, you're right.
functioning.
You're right, because it's the Ngopo. We have to capture that changingness of this.
Isn't that still not contradictory, Kramer? Because if
Hold
it's
on,
changed,
let's
it should be old.
Yeah, I agree.
Ngopo. Okay. Nipe Ngopo.
It's interesting because if you consider it from the standpoint of just having something exist from an earlier time to a later time, it could just be two instants. So all you need is something to exist over two instants.
So in fairness, right, we're struggling to piece together the grammar and the particular words, but it does seem clear. The idea, at least, is saying if from the beginning of time, if from beginningless time, in fact, you go on doing things, then you must be changing. And in fact, if you're staying from beginningless time, if you are ancient, and they even used the word ancient, then
No, I used it.
yeah, but what was the word that you used as ancient? It doesn't matter anyway. Again, we get caught up on the words, but we know as translators, at a certain point, you have to make the words mean what you know it's supposed to say.
Of course.
Right? Which is that there's a problem about Kyamjuk, about Vishnu doing stuff from beginningless time without being different over the course of what he's done. So is the thing he's doing here painted out? Is it aging? And Nyingba, right? By the way, that was the word for ancient. So he's ancient, but he's been here since beginningless time.
It's stable.
Yeah. So
which, by the way, if time is beginningless, then you have always been ancient if you've existed since beginningless time.
Yeah, it's a really confusing idea. Thanks. But so maybe the contradiction is within here somewhere. Like that. I mean, what he's trying to disprove is that if because a functioning thing is stable, it cannot be momentary, then how? So I think this is actually supposed to be coherent, like Adam was saying. Then how could things be changing at an earlier time while being old at a later time? Like, because it seems like he's just trying to disprove the first part. That just because something is stable doesn't mean it can't be momentary. Like just because something is a stable functioning thing, and I don't know where that's coming from. Maybe there was an old debate where somebody was like, "Oh no, but he's stable." Yeah, stable doesn't pay the bills. Like look.
Yeah, again, unless Themba is a glossing of Nyingba.
It's from the root text.
I take the stable to just mean something just over two moments.
Stable over 2 moments.
Yeah, any functioning thing that exists over, we were saying like earlier, in between 2 instants, right? For something to have a start, we keep seeing the nga and then the chi, right? And so I think what's being implied here is that anything that's stable is something that exists from that has a nga and a chi.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Or over, excuse me, more than 2 instants.
Right.
So if it exists for more than, if you got a coffee cup and it exists for more than 2 instants, you could consider that thing an object, which is Tempa.
As much as I'd like to believe I can solve this problem without a Geshe present, it's probably cruel to the world to not try to hatch some means of applying it to ourselves at this point.
Yeah, I think you're right. And this is cool. I mean, I think it's Geshe Michael said, he warned us that I haven't seen him with this book in a while, but he warned us the last time we were looking at it that it was about to get really hard.
Can we go
good
at the next section?
We can peek, but just to give you a heads up, it's not going to give you any relief at all.
We're at time.
We're over time, but it starts to go into
it's a different section
goes into a new section about momentariness, so it is related.
Oh
well, let us see. I haven't wrestled with much of it.
Oh, where did the third part go?
The third part of what?
Well, if that's the fourth part that we're coming up with, and the part we're just in right now is the second part. Oh, there's I'm sorry. It was the second part of the third part. My apologies.
You know how they roll, Upala. All right. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Everybody's being very helpful. Thank you, my fellow nuts, and everyone else participating in this class. I think we've learned some things. We're also inquiring into how to stay firm from one point to the next. I'm working on it. A lot of smoothies.
The trick is to never do anything.
I thought we're supposed to be active, Ben.
Wait a minute.
There may be a problem then.
Oh, that's the contradiction.
Is it? Can you just not do stuff and then you're no longer a changing thing and then you become Takpa and then so you just sit around long enough, like
then you'll pervade all things.
I should start trying that.
Yeah, it says Kate Chickma doesn't exist. Oh, sorry.
It doesn't exist. Because we're going to refute it and then we'll all be immortal. But we won't be able to think anymore, so it won't matter.
Or age.
So
anybody else practical applications?
Oh, what do you mean else?
Well, obviously, my practical applications were brilliant, but not helping anybody because you guys just can't understand the depth of how I'm explaining for you to apply this by not doing anything.
We are talking about an unchanging soul or self, and that I do feel is, I don't know, something that we feel or think about a lot, or don't like to admit that we feel or think about. But I find in my interactions with people, I want people to like see who I am or understand the real me. And if they get me wrong, then it hurts my feelings because they didn't see the real me. Or I want them to think something about me. Maybe I present myself a certain way, the way I want them to think I really am. And then maybe I feel bad sometimes because I'm encouraging people to think that I'm something other than I really am. But then I wonder, can they see through the way I'm trying to make them think I really am, to see the way I really am? And if there isn't such a thing as that, then I probably don't have to have 70, 80, 90% of the thoughts that I'm having all day. And I could just help people instead of worrying about the real me and whether I'm living up to him or convincing you of him.
Yeah, I like that. I know what you mean. I spend a lot of my time, unfortunately, trying to either control or change what I think people think of me, which is also wrong because I have no idea what they think of me.
I suspect this is the human condition.
Seems like it. Yeah. Frontin. Yes.
I like it.
Frontin.
Yeah, right. But then changing every moment is like a river. We have this river, the Rio Grande, that flows through Albuquerque, New Mexico. And it's made of water, I guess. But if it's made of water, there should be some particular water that the river in Albuquerque is made of. But when you go to point at the water that the river in Albuquerque is made of, it's already gone downstream to Mexico. And so you can never see the water that the river is made of. And every time you go to point at me or your husband, boyfriend, wife, kids, children, pets, they're gone, replaced by the next seed unfolding in your heart.
Yeah.
And um,
Even if there's no water in the river, they still call it the river.
yeah, only in Arizona.
In LA.
Hey.
LA, even if it's made of concrete and it looks like a pipe or something.
That's California.
Yeah. Something I think that is even going, like taking what you're saying into consideration, and then where I think that like what this text is actually grappling with, which I think is interesting, is this kind of universal self, like the, you know, or Samkhya too, right? Like I relate personally a lot to this idea of Purusha and Prakriti, and this kind of more there's like a universal self which kind of contains all of us, and then individual expressions. And this kind of way of thinking about the world is probably the main thing that attracted me to start being a spiritually minded person in the first place. I really relate with it, and still. And I think something interesting about studying this kind of philosophy, this lineage, is that it's denying that, but also kind of claiming it at the same time. And it just kind of points your mind in some direction toward truth that we can't quite put into words, maybe. Although Nagarjuna seems to have a problem with that. But like you know, Buddhism says all day that there's no like universal oneness in the way that we might think there is. But then at the same time, it's like, oh yeah, the only way to get, you know, a donut is to give word a donut. Do you like donuts? And why is that? Oh, it's because, you know, he is you. Oh, he is me. Okay. So that to me implies some sort of universal oneness. But then there's all these arguments of like, no, there is no enduring oneness. And so it's like I don't know. I think I've really enjoyed this journey for the last 20 years of trying to play with these seemingly at odds with each other ideas, but I don't know. There's some truth in there that we maybe can't figure out exactly what's going on yet, or at least not me.
Yeah, I guess like Christina Kasikas just said in the chat, Democritus, the Greek philosopher, said, "You can't step in the same river twice." That it's important to say that these ideas are not just to sound mysterious. That if you see like a water fountain, right, makes a little shape into the sky as the water fountain comes up, but every time you try to point at what the shape is made of, the water that you're pointing at is gone. So what it's made of in the end is your idea of a little shape. Your idea is what makes it be. And if that's true, if reality is ever changing and only contained by the shape of our ideas, then this is proof that the shape of our minds and hearts matter. It's proof that reality is changeable. If the substance that makes reality what it is the mind, is ideas, is thoughts, we know that those can be very much changed, and that there's a fluidity there, even, more fluid than water.
Yeah, well said, man. That seems to be what Nagarjuna keeps on trying to show us. I like it. I have
fluid
found
than fluid.
No, he didn't say that.
No.
He had something like that. He said pouring butter into butter. I don't know. Anyway,
Marshak Mar.
Delicious.
I have found like the greatest relief in my life at moments when I'm able to use that idea in a moment. So I believe it's possible, like to be able to transcend whatever maze my mind happens to be caught in, and remember that I am just whatever I can dream myself, not necessarily controllably, but whatever I happen to be dreaming myself as in that moment. And then I've personally found moments where that idea alone has been enough to offer me some freedom from whatever fear was gripping me, and be able to just kind of go beyond whatever stupid argument or problem I was having, and just move into a better state of mind.
Yeah, but you
So
can control it. You do control it, you know? It's just that you didn't know you were controlling it until I think it's like you're in a car and your hands are taped to the steering wheel and the pedals, but you don't know, and you're flailing and wild things are happening. But when you meet a teacher and you start to learn about reality and you meet friends, and then suddenly you start to, what a shame if we didn't learn how to drive a car until after we had been already driving it for countless eons. But that's sort of the state of affairs. You've always been driving, and now we're finally collecting this information from a driver's ed manual that we were given only very late in the process. But we have it now.
better late
We
than
have it now. Yeah, I'm in. Thank goodness.
Well, that's a good note to end on. And that was I think this was a nice talk. So thank you, fellas and ladies and everyone. Yeah.
Thank you, family.
So it's time for Juan Hasso to give us the world news, and then stay tuned for at 5:30 for a Q&A with Dr. Word, where you will be able to ask him the most difficult questions that you could possibly think of. He particularly loves mind-only questions. Makes him so happy.
Thank you.
All right.
I'll be-
Thanks.
thank you.
Thank you, Word. All right. Juan, you're looking good.
Thank
Yeah,
you, man.
you look so
Appreciate it.
young.
I know, right? It's the power of the Mexican weather.
Mm.
Maybe you guys could consider coming sometime. Maybe next year.
Mm.
Maybe. Let's stay open to the maybe. Okay. All right. So let me talk a little bit about what's going on this week. Yeah, as I mentioned before, I made it to Mexico. We are all very excited because soon we're going to have a retreat here. Soon we're going to be sharing more details about that. But just first, a reminder about, last time we showed this wonderful video on the Balize. Yes, you were right. Tech Table, aka Gina Rivera. Thank you so much, Gina Rivera, that is helping us with the online materials. So last Saturday we were talking about this, just for the audience to get to understand visually how all this project with the Balize works. There is a wonderful video that our friend Rosa Van Grieken, she's in charge of this project, GMR Luxury, Diamond Cutters, Jules. And we wanted to share it with you because, different days is different audience, this program. So because of the time zones. So we wanted to take the chance also to share it with our friends in Asia, mostly because of the time zones. So there is this video, you get more clarity, what's the idea and how the gadgets on the Balize work. So there you go. One of the ideas with this Belize project is to help us to have a fresh and good resting night, since we detach ourselves from our electronic devices. We put them in the valise at night, far from us, go to bed, and if for any reason we wake up in the middle of the night, the valise is locked with this special electronic lock. So the idea is we cannot access it. It's like a little help to don't fall for the temptations of the electronics there at night. It's a wonderful present. You can consider it. And of course, it supports these wonderful classes, this wonderful project. In some other news, I was talking to you about the Mexico retreat coming up this weekend. You still have a chance to register online if you haven't yet, but it's very cool because now that I'm here in Mexico, in Guadalajara, I have seen how the production team is so excited about it. You can feel the energy. People all over the world getting ready to travel to Mexico City. And I've been talking with my friends who are producing this event, and they share with me the schedule. I want to share it with you just super quickly. We have it here in Spanish, but I'm just going to talk about the activities. It's going to be, of course, classes with Geshe Michael himself. There's going to be one talk on Friday, nighttime, and then 2 classes with Geshe Michael on Saturday, 2 classes on Sunday. But also, there is going to be international teachers teaching during Saturday and Sunday. And I'm just quickly going to mention what are they going to be teaching. On Saturday, Aldo and Paulina from Mexico, they are going to be teaching a special class called Finding My Life Purpose. Then later, Saturday, Hector Marcel from 3 Jules and Berta Velasco from Mexico City, they are going to be teaching a class on, it's called From Broken Relationships to Lovely Relationships. That's Saturday. Then on Sunday, Tim Lowenhop and Rob Haggerty Jr. are going to be teaching a class called A Journey to Inner Peace. And finally, that same day, Sunday at nighttime, Ward Smith and Anaí Luis, they're going to be teaching a class on financial freedom. I'm just sharing with you a little bit of what's going to be happening during this retreat. Plus, as I just say, the classes, The Angel Debates the Devil with Geshe Michael. I think it's going to be very, very exciting. And we would like to show the QR code one more time, just in case you haven't signed up, you had a chance. Awesome. Wonderful. Okay, so now, after talking about the Mexico retreat, as you know, John Brady and other friends in Asia have been traveling in different countries in Asia. Just like a few days ago, John Brady taught a few classes in Singapore. There is just a few pictures I want to share with you about the Singapore event. Soon we will have more in-depth talks with some of our friends in future weeks. Maybe Osiris, dear friend Osiris, is excited to share with us because he has been part of this tour. So can we show the other pictures, please? But this is only one. Yeah, that's in Singapore. This is only one of the events. Next picture, please, that have been happening in Asia. A previous event just happened in Malaysia on July the 7th. And it was the Art of Gratitude event. Is the next picture, please? Oh, no, that's not yet. That's friends in Singapore. Yes, that's the one. For that, our dear friend Xuanzang also helped to produce and taught in the event. We want to show a special video he shared with us. And then we're going to be talking with him about the many adventures that have been happening over there. But first, let's just watch a short video he sent me a few days ago. Okay, so there you go. And here with us is Sugeng. Hello, Sugeng. How are you?
Hi, Juan. I'm good. Thank you.
Good to see you. Thank you so much for making the time to be here with us today.
Yeah, we just arrived in Jambi. It's another city in Indonesia. This is the place where Lord Atisha came like slightly more than 1,000 years ago, supposedly to learn something that was missing during his time. So, and then he brought it back to India, and then, then the teaching spread.
And what's the purpose of this trip, Sugeng? Why are you in Sumatra, is it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, the purpose, well, I mean, I don't know, strangely, there are students, the students are growing in this city, Not many, we have 54, but it is growing. So I don't know, when we arrived yesterday, I was just telling Cynthia, hey, we seem to be coming to Indonesia much, much more frequently the last 2 years. Something great is happening here. Because we only come when there are demands, right? When there are demands, when people want to learn, then we come. So yeah, this is exciting.
That's wonderful, Sugeng. I think you have been traveling for the last few weeks. I don't know if it started with this Art of Gratitude retreat, maybe, or you were traveling before.
Yeah, since we came back from US in May, we have been going around. I don't know, this is our trip number 7 or 8, right, Cynthia? I mean, we have been going to airport like, I think eight times already. It's getting exciting and crazy.
You may be getting closer to global services.
No. Not like Mr. Tim Lowenhub. We are short trips, so no, they don't have global services for short trips.
Can you share with us a little bit, Sugeng, of what was the topics and the purpose of this event, the Art of Gratitude?
Okay, we call it event 7777 because it happened on 7 July. And it was actually in Indonesia, not Malaysia. Okay, it's in Medan, Indonesia. Medan is another city with a growing population of students. So we have few hundred students here. So it's very, very, very cool also. So since we have a growing group of students, we want to introduce the ALL, the Asian Legacy Library. And also we want to introduce our Diamond Cutter Classics, the Mixed Nuts program, right? So of course, since Professor JB and Connie are passing by on their way to Yogyakarta Borobudur event, we actually invited them to detour to Medan. Since I have a big group of students in Medan, I think it's the best opportunities and best chance for them to meet up in person and then to hear directly what are all these programs all about. So we just find an excuse to invite people. We just call it the Art of Gratitude from Ancient Wisdom because this is a topic that people love very much. It's close to their heart. And yeah, and then of course, skillfully during this event, we introduce all the Asian Legacy Library and the Mixed Nuts, the what do you call the Diamond Cutter Classics. Yeah. And also YSI, the Yoga Studies Institute to them.
Yes, and just after that, after your event in Indonesia, you went to the Borobudur event, right, with YSI.
Yeah, before that, right? I think we collected close to 30,000 USD, for the ALL fundraising in Medan. I think that's incredible within only one day. Yeah, and then yes,
it really is.
Then we flew to Yogyakarta.
Yes.
It's about an hour from Borobudur to support this event. It's a YSI event together with Raw Diamond on the Jewel of Sharing. And yeah, there are about 160 people there, and people learn all this with the YSI team. And this is another exciting event because I met up with many people who I only saw in Zoom. For example, here I can see we have what, Laya, for example. Laya, we have been talking when I was doing the Q&A for Mixed Nuts. Laya asked questions, but I've never met her. And she was there. It's incredible, you know, when you see somebody in person. Yeah, I can see that. Oh, okay, she has legs too.
Yeah,
So,
I see you guys also made a cool video for Geshe Michael during the YSI, and you're there as well. It's just very short. We're gonna show it real quick.
Yeah,
You
oh,
can
this
tell
one.
how many people were attending, and I see you there as well. Check it out.
Hey Peachtree, it's YSI and Raw Diamonds in Indonesia. Hey, and we are learning about creating abundance by sharing. And we were wondering if you could share some of your cinnamon rolls with us. So we have a message. Ready? Whoa, I need Peachtree, Geshe Michael.
Yeah, I can see you guys were having fun.
What is cool is that at the back, you don't see Xintian, right? Xintian is actually at the back. We have a booth there. We have a table. And then we are doing a fundraising too, you know. It's pretty fun. We have a GMR Luxury. We have an Asian Legacy Library. We have, even for YSI, we have fundraising for them. So, and yeah, and another thing that I observe here is that, you know, when COVID started, when the pandemic started, a lot of our classes actually went online, and that actually broke down the country boundaries. So there is no more boundaries for countries, and Chinese-speaking people in many places suddenly have many options, including people from Singapore, Malaysia. And of course, there are groups who attend courses with existing organizer. There are groups who attend classes with China organizers. And interestingly, they don't get to know each other. They don't get to meet each other. They don't even know each other. But in this event, they came together. So I'm talking about Singapore, Malaysia. I'm not talking about people from China, right? So people from Singapore, Malaysia who have been taking classes from different organizers who didn't know each other, suddenly they are together in the same room. They are sitting together. They are talking together. They are discussing together. They did performance together. It's so beautiful. The harmony that you will see there is like, wow, this is really a very beautiful world where everybody come together. Before that, when I asked A, hey, do you know B who attended class with the other teacher? No, I don't. You know, when I asked C, if you don't know D, no, I don't. But suddenly everybody is together and talking together. And because they are from the same country, from the same place, and now they came together, it's beautiful. I can see, wow, this Borobudur event was really can I call it unification event, unifying event, you know? Yeah, so that is the beautiful thing that I observed.
That is so cool, Sugeng, because I think I agree with you. It's very important for us, I will say, at least for me, my personal experience, having a community and having friends while learning and studying this ancient wisdom, it has been extremely, extremely helpful. And I think it's definitely one of the goals and dreams of Geshe Michael, that we all can work together as a big family and also share and support each other with this deep appreciation and deep friendship. And I think these kind of events, as you say, definitely take us in that direction. So I want to also thank you for organizing these events and being part of it and doing this wonderful, I will say, mission in those Asian lands across the ocean.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. I am so honored and so glad that you give me this opportunity to share with all the friends. So all those people that I have met, I mean, I wish to see everybody that I see in Zoom that I have not met personally. I would really like to meet every one of you in person, if possible, in future, in whatever event that we have. So thank you, Juan, for facilitating
you.
this World News so that we all can connect with each other.
Thank you so much, Sugen. My pleasure, and I hope it keeps going in that direction. Thank you so much for being here, and it's time to go. It was time before, but let's go with our next section.